lecture. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting this request and spending your valuable time with us.
Thank you.
Our request to all the students, it's a wonderful opportunity, my dear students. Utilize it. It's it is a very rare opportunity that you are getting. Sir is National Manager of Design Tech, dealing with MATLAB and Simulink. He is very busy a person. In spite of that, he has decided to spend time with us. So let us utilize it to the maximum possible. Let us benefit out of it. So expecting all the students to come forward to interact and learn from this wonderful session. So with this few words, I would like to hand over the session to uh, Kavita ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the wonderful motivation to our students, ma'am. And I would like to thank Zafar sir for accepting our invite in spite of the busy schedule he is having. Now I will hand over the session to our student Aparna Raji for giving a brief introduction about Zafar sir.
A warm and graceful morning to all. On behalf of EEE Department of RMK Group of Institution, it is honored to welcome the Principal, HOD of EEE Department, faculty members, and all my fellow mates. In the ongoing webinar series on electric vehicle trends, the changing landscape of automotive industry, the today's session is on hybrid electric vehicle with MATLAB and Simulink. It is immense pleasure to welcome our most valued Honorable Chief Guest, Shri M.M. Zafar, who is presently the National Manager of Design Tech Systems Private Limited, New Delhi. He is the head of Application Engineers team. His main focus is to train the customers on MathWorks products on their required application. He had an experience of 15 years in system design for signal processing and image processing. Previously, he worked as Center Head in MATLAB Training Institute, where various courses related to signal processing, communication, and image processing is organized. He is a master degree holder in electronics and communication from UIET Kanpur. He accepted our invitation and kind enough to take session for us. I once again invite our honorable speaker for this wonderful webinar and enlighten us. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. So, should we start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so once again, good morning to all of you. Thanks for the introduction. Today's session of HEVs, where we see that modeling and simulation on top of MATLAB and Simulink. So keeping in mind that students have joined, so I tried this session so that they can get benefited of that what kind of options are available in MATLAB and Simulink, so that they can use those options to build up vehicles or hybrid electric vehicles or electric vehicles, whatever you want to design on top of MATLAB and Simulink. So in this session, basically what we are going to do, we are going to model and simulate HEVs. For that, we see that different options are available, and with that, students or attendees can conduct their own analysis on their projects or on their say models. So we will see that different HEV architecture selections, that what kind of different architectures are available, what say components are available, so that we can use those particular in our complete project or models. We see that what kind of various energy consumption estimates are available, so that we can go ahead and use in our project that as well as that, as I said, that component selection. So there are various components are there, when and what kind of components are required, or we can choose out in our complete say model design. Okay, so this is our key points which we are going to discuss in today's session or presentation, I can say. Okay, so with that, I'm going to start that what are the challenges with HEV design. So there are various challenges are available in HEV design. So I have taken some of the challenges and I have put it jotted down on this slide so that we can see that how we can help out with MATLAB and Simulink to overcome with those challenges. First is that architecture or topology selection. That this is the biggest challenge, that how we are going to select out a particular architecture which we have to design for HEVs. So this is the first challenge. Second, again, that selection and sizing of component. So various vehicles required various components, as well as that different sizing and specifications are required. Then complexity in modeling plant and controllers. So definitely when we are going to design our vehicle from scratch, we need to build up different plants for that particular vehicle as well as that controllers. How we are going to address such kind of complexities. How we can optimize performance over different conditions. So like when various road conditions are there, when various environmental conditions are there. So how we can overcome with the performance of those HEVs. And whenever we are building some kind of control algorithms for these HEVs, whether those algorithms are real-time implementable or not, whether we use in real-time scenarios or not. So these all challenges are there. So we are going to address some of the challenges in terms of design and simulations. So whatever you are able to see on this side of the screen, so we are going to discuss in our today's presentation these kind of things. For optimization and control real-time algorithms, separate sessions are there. So I will share out some links so that you can go ahead with those kind of sessions. So as I said, that in our today's session, we are going to discuss about these kind of things. Okay, so I have taken some example with these challenges which we have right away. So first thing that for HEVs, we have parallel or series parallel kind of architectures are there. Like when we see such kind of example where we are able to see that some front engine system is there, then a clutch system is there, transmission system is there, that different wheel positions as well as that different components are available. Okay, so we have different locations available for these electric machines locations. So when we say that P pound, that means a different location is there. So first one is that P0, P1. So that means there are various options are available, or you can say various sections are available which we want to simulate on top of MATLAB and Simulink or any other software. So when we talk about these different combinations, so those combinations can be chosen depending on our need, that in which particular simulation, what kind of combination is required, whether it's a simple P2 kind of combination is there, or P1, P4 or P1, P3 kind of combinations are there. So every combination has, or each location has a different pros and cons are there. So how we are going to address out those things, like in this place, that here what we have some P2 combination is available from where that we have clutch machines are there, as well as that so machine is nothing but some gears kind of thing, as well as that transmission and clutching system combinedly is used, or over there like some generators or motors are there, so we can use those generators and motors along with that whole system. So there are various different combinations are available which we can use with reference application which is provided in MATLAB and Simulink tools. Okay. Another thing, that selection and sizing of components. So as I said, that whenever we need to choose out some say motors, generators, or other machines, so we have to select out from the specific libraries. Or sometimes it happens that we need to work on some kind of data-driven modeling kind of things, where we have to link up our components with specific data sets, that it has a certain limitation that it cannot go beyond this particular point. So those kind of linkage is available. Similarly, we can select out from various batteries which are available, or we can design our own customized batteries by using different tools. So what kind of tools are there, which we can discuss later on. Or as I said, that transmission system. So we can choose out from automatic, semi-automatic, or manual kind of transmission systems. Different gear models are available. So planetary gears are there. So we can use series of planetary gears to develop a new kind of gear system also. As well as that chassis systems or clutching. So those all components are available. With that, we can design a complete model within MATLAB and Simulink. Next thing, that how to optimize performance over wide range of conditions. Like I have taken some of the curves. Like first, this particular curve is there. So this is a velocity curve of a city ride. So we see that we require that lot of say brakes and acceleration. So that this is providing such kind of curve. Okay. Same way when we talk about a highway kind of driving, so we see that clutching and braking is quite less in these places. As well as that, when we talk about some kind of racing kind of stuffs, or so a different model is there for that velocity. So that there are different various conditions are there. So we need to address these different conditions which when we are designing such kind of HEVs. So what we need, that we need to reduce energy consumption so that we can intake lesser fuels or lesser energy, so that it can provide maximum performance to us. As well as that drivability requirements are there. So we need to address those drivability requirements, such as acceleration time and gradability, and many more other options are there which we can address out while designing HEVs. So depending on our need, we can address out specific challenge with this. Okay, so to solve such kind of problem, what we have taken a approach of model-based design, which we say as a MBD. So MBD is a general term which we use on top of MATLAB and Simulink, in which we have that several sections available. So you are able to see this V kind of diagram, in which that first step is that this define requirement. So we have options available, so we can start defining from a requirement into a modeling environment. So whatever our project need is there, whatever our modeling need is there, we can directly define in our environment, which is known as Simulink. Okay. Then after that, we start designing our system. So that's why we say that system level design, where we can evaluate and complete architecture, we can assess performance, and we can use to develop a closed loop kind of systems also. Okay. Subsystem design. So we can distribute, like we know that in a vehicle or in a particular system, there are various sections are available. Like in vehicle, maybe say, as I said, that transmission section is separate section is there. Acceleration section is a separate section. Electric system is a separate section. So we can distribute those things like a battery management or an engine. So such kind of things we can distribute in different subsystems and design a complete system within a environment, which is known as Simulink. After that, we can simulate and see those results, so that we are able to make a model which can be used as a production C code model, which means that we can test out each and every step our complete system, and we can integrate in hardware and loop kind of simulation. So these steps, like last 3 steps, when we are able to see these steps, like subsystem integration and test, system level integration and test, and complete integration and test. So this is possible when we want to use our model in real-time implementation. So code generation, hardware and loop simulations, verification and validations. So those all things possible. So our complete system simulation or verification will work in this V architecture of model-based design. Okay. Okay. So as I said that our today's focus on these two things. So with system level design and subsystem design. So we are going to see those things. Now, what I have taken a reference example. So before that, explaining that what kind of components are available, what kind of things are available, I just want to explain a little bit on this particular application, that how my application look like and how we can design or what my end design will look like. Okay. So what I have various blocks available in this place. You are able to see that we have taken some reference speed in this place. We have defined some kind of environmental condition. We have defined some longitudinal driver, a controller, passenger car, and some visualization techniques are there. So likewise, by using such kind of models, what we have, like we have given some kind of reference speed. So with that reference speed, this particular longitudinal driver will identify that with that feedbacks and acceleration and braking, that kind of inputs need to be provided to controller. With that controller, this controller is going to pass on those say inputs and feedbacks to the system where engines, motors, generators, gears are available. And finally, we are able to get as a visualization scheme. So like you're able to see that vehicle speed is going to pass on in this place, system feedback, different actuator torque commands are going to pass on to engine and motor with this controller. And then finally, we get a visualization that how my vehicle is moving. Like different forces are there. So that we can get a proper, say, simulation of a complete vehicle within this. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we are going to see that when we run a simulation of such kind of say system, that what kind of outputs we are getting. So like here in this model, so what we are doing, we are just executing this model so that it can run. So as I said that this model has various components, so it need to be simulate, and we can get result in this visualization section. So like in this visualization section, we have different scopes available where we are going to see that performance curves, that what are the different performance curves. Like here we are able to see. So while simulation, we are able to see that various curves are available where we can identify that engine speed, motor speed, velocity. We can trace with targeted and actual velocity also. We can see that what will the battery current would be there, battery SOC would be there, or a fuel economy also. So a complete analysis we can visualize in this place. If somebody wants that, we need some kind of visualization which will be a say a three-dimensional kind of visualization where we see that how actually a vehicle is moving. When some obstacle is there, how it behave. So those kind of options are also available so that we can link up our Simulink models with various other tools which can perform in a virtual scenarios of external environment, so that we can link up with Simulink 3D animation. So a product is there, Simulink 3D animation, which will allow to define a complete virtual environment in a VRML kind of format, and we are able to see that how these things are moving. If somebody wants to make a autonomous kind of system, we have tools available like automated driving system toolbox, which allow us to perform that complete autonomous, and we see that again in virtual scenarios. It has options are available which will allow to link with third-party tools so that we can visualize in those kind of environment also. Okay. Okay, so we have seen few things that how my model look like. Now the question arises that how we are going to design such kind of models within Simulink environment. Okay, so to design such environment or such models within Simulink environment, we have different component modeling types are available. Okay, what are these types? First is that first principle method, data driven method, and behavioral method. Now, what are these different methods are there? So we are going to discuss on that, and we see that what methods will be benefited or used to design a specific system. So when we talk about first principle method, it is nothing but it has one or more physical equations are available. We use those physical equations to design a specific model. Okay, how? Like I have taken one example of longitudinal vehicle dynamics, in which we are able to see a free body of 1 degree of freedom, say equations, whose equations will look like this. Okay, so where various changes are there, so those kind of equations we can directly design by using first principle method, by using MATLAB or Simulink environment. Another example of this planetary gear, so we can design such kind of planetary gear with this dynamic equations, or by using kinematic or geometric kind of equations. So if we have such kind of equations, we can design by using first principle method within MATLAB and Simulink. Another method, as I said, that which is data driven method. So in this data driven method, we have steady state maps available. By using those steady state maps. Yes, is there any question? Okay, so steady state map we can implement via lookup tables. So as I said that we have a set of data available. With that data, we can use lookup tables within Simulink and design those things. So like you are able to see that we are defining fuel mass flow in this place along with engine speed and commanded torque. So we are able to get points from within this kind of data sets. Or we can use with the efficiency curve, where it can be suited with speed and torque with a particular limit that whatever the limits has been defined in this place. We can add dynamics by using transfer functions. So transfer function will act as a plant within Simulink environment. So we can use those transfer functions. It can be used because first principle sometimes is quite difficult. Like we have some lengthy equations to derive such kind of lengthy equations. It is difficult, or sometimes we don't need some kind of dynamic system designing by using physical equations. So maybe we use data driven things, and with that data driven things, we can start using those models directly into our say modeling environment. Okay, as I said that sometimes detailed dynamics is not necessary or not required, or sometimes we require that fast simulating model so that we can link up along with hardware and loop kind of simulations or real-time simulations. So we use such kind of techniques. So for this also we have taken some example of internal combustion engine, where like what happened that we need to identify that say combination or relation between that actual torque, commanded torque, or engine speed, or like earlier we have seen that full flow mass or commanded torque or engine speed kind of things. So with that we are able to identify that whatever the actual torque is there and whatever the commanded torque are there, whether engine speed is working in that manner or not, or same way in this place also, or whatever the engine speed is there, or whatever the actual torque is there, whether it is relating with commanded torque or not. Okay, so such kind of systems we can design whenever dynamic system modeling is not required, or when we have some electric machines available and inverter available, where we need to map with those electrical machines along with those inverter values. Like as I said, that we're in this efficiency curve, that it is completely linked with torque and speed, and we have certain limitations are available, that with that limitation it is going to map these inverters and electrical machines so that we can get a proper result within this one. So this is another example which for data driven method. Now the last thing is that behavioral model. So what is this behavioral model? So we are not modeling actual physics, but our model produce similar dynamic responses, like which we have seen in first principle method. So what is like that? So being an engineer, what we need, if somebody say that you have to design, I'm just taking a simple example of some RLC circuitries. Okay, if somebody say that we have to design a 3-stage RLC circuitry, and I need to write down equations for that. I need to use those equations to build up such kind of models within Simulink environment, and then I simulate and get results. It is quite difficult for me because of I am an engineer. I understand a language of engineering components. So if it is available in such kind of manner, it is quite easy for us to understand. If I get simply that inductor, resistor, capacitor, a battery, so like this is a equivalent circuitry of battery, so we can design such kind of things. But in some of the cases, like in when we talk about battery, so battery is a electrochemical kind of say object. So it is come into in our mind whether such kind of electrochemical say models will be providing good results to us or not, but it is there. So we have a white paper of battery modeling. So if you want, you can go on Mathworks website and just type battery modeling simulation. So you are able to get that white paper, and you are able to see, like here you are able to see simulation of actual battery say data, as well as that by designing of behavioral modeling. Okay, so here you are able to see that simulation and experimental results. So it is quite similar. A little bit differences are there, which is obvious. So we are getting a quite similar kind of results. So this behavioral modeling will allow us to design such kind of complete systems. Okay, so like, so another example of this clutching system, where we have designed state machines, where we can easily identify that from a lock position to unlock position or various other positions, how a clutch is going to move. So we can design such kind of state machines also within Simulink environment, so that my modeling, wherever logics are required, my modeling get completed with that logics. Okay, so sometime it happens that we need to combine these methods. Like in first principle method, we need to use some kind of lookup tables so that it can use a data driven kind of modeling, or sometimes it require that we have certain equations and we want to use those in behavioral things. So combining those things is okay. We can use out combining all these three methods or alternative, whatever the methods are, need to be combined. It is very useful when we are not working on some specific standard say models or components, which is not for a particular manufacturer, where data sheets are not available. So in that case, that parameterization will come into picture. Okay, so we have similar kind of blocks are available. With those blocks, we can define what parameters are required over there. Now, how we can define such kind of parameters? So for that, parameter estimation come into picture. We use those parameter estimation by lookup tables, and with that we can identify what actual parameter is required for a certain component, so that we can use whenever we are working on non-standard kind of modeling. Okay, so it is okay to use all these three methods alongside. Now, that what kind of HEV plant modeling tools are available? So first one is that powertrain Blockset is available. We have a tool named Powertrain Blockset, and another tool is that Simscape. Okay, so these are two environments which are available on top of Simulink environment, which will allow us to design a complete system. Okay, now we will see these two environments, that what are these two environments and how we can build up a model by using the components which are available in this. Okay. Okay, so I just first discuss about a few of the Powertrain Blockset features, and then we can go ahead switching directly onto MATLAB environment. So Powertrain Blockset will provide a library of blocks where you are able to see that different components are available related to propulsion, transmission, vehicle dynamics, vehicle scenario builders. So those all are drivetrain methods. So by using these blocks, we can build up a certain model which we have seen in that slide, where we have simulated and see that what kind of different results are there. As well as that, sometime it happens that how we are going to get started with this, because of it is just only some blocks, how we can get started. So we have some pre-built reference applications are available, where we can get help from conventional vehicles, hybrid electric vehicles are there, different engine models are available. So by using those reference applications, we can start working on this. Okay. So with that, I'm just switching on MATLAB environment. Okay. Sorry, I just typed some wrong. Okay. So this is my environment of MATLAB. Now, I just quickly want to explain that what are this environment. Maybe you are a user of MATLAB already. So I just quickly want to explain for who are new to MATLAB or who has used earlier version of MATLAB. Okay. So in this, you are able to see that there are a number of windows are available. Like this command window is there, current folder is there, workspace is there, and various say tabs are available in these places. Okay. So every window is responsible for a different purpose. Like this command window, it will execute your commands in this place. You can write down your commands directly in this place. You can simulate a Simulink model, a MATLAB code, or a code generation thing. So everything will be going to execute in this one. That's why MATLAB is an interpreter. Okay. So when we are executing one particular command, it will take one command and wait for completion of that, and then it will execute another one. Okay. So that's why we use Simulink, because in Simulink, it actually running on top of MATLAB, but actually we are running a dynamic kind of system over there. Okay. Then this workspace is there. So this workspace is nothing but a location on your MATLAB memory, systems memory, where your complete data is going to store. Whether you are importing from some files, sensing from some sensors, or it is generating while simulations with some equations. Same way this current folder is there. So again, this is a location on your hard drive where your complete files are going to sit, so that you can use those files as and when required in your complete modeling or simulation purposes. Then this ribbons are there. So in this ribbons, there are various options are available. Like you are able to see that that different shortcuts are available. Like if I want to import some kind of data, or I want to analyze my code, or I want to launch Simulink. Same way, if I go in plots tab, that various plots are available. If I go and select out a specific variable, I'm able to see that what different plots are there and how it is going to work. So graphically, I can create a 2D or 3D kind of plot within this. Same way, different apps are available, which will allow me to work interactively on top of MATLAB. Okay. Same way here, that we have option that we can design our own app, we can install an app, we can package so that we can distribute to other users or colleagues. Okay. So this is an environment of MATLAB. Now I'm just going to click on this option, which is Simulink. So what it will do, it will launch a Simulink start page for me. So in this Simulink start page, yes, is there any question? Okay, so in this Simulink start page, we have various options are available. In this option, we can use Simulink or any of the tool which are available. So here are that ready references are available. Like I want to work on a library, I want to work on a project, I want to work on a code generation kind of project. And same way if I'm working on a specific field, like if I want to work on powertrain things. So I just need to go in powertrain library and I'm able to see that what kind of different templates are available here. Okay, or I can simply go in this example section where I'm able to see those reference examples which are readily available for me. I can use those reference example to build up my own. Like here you are able to see that various, again, that various options are there. So like if I go in powertrain block set, I'm able to see that various reference examples are available. Okay, now I'm just quickly moving on this templates page, and I say that, okay, I need to create a new model. So when I say that I create a new model, it will launch a blank canvas, Simulink canvas for me. Why I'm saying a canvas? Because of here we are going to design our complete system. Okay, so how we are going to design this as a system? Okay, so here in this particular canvas, we have again certain options are available. So with this certain option, we are able to see that it has an option of a tab of simulation, debug, modeling, formats, and apps. So again, various different options are available. So like here we have general tools available which we can use. Like I want to see that Simulink library browser. I want to select a particular signal which can be logged and we can view later on. We need to change start a simulation time, simulation mode. We can use debugs if we want to debug our model, different various modeling aspects. So we can go and change those modeling aspects. And same way that apps is there. So when we want to use on top of Simulink some of the apps, like I want to use some for real-time simulations. I want to use some kind of say control algorithm in this. So or I want to see that LTI kind of curves of a system. So I can use these apps, and with these apps we are able to find out relevant information. Okay, so I'm just going into simulation tab again and launching this library browser so that we are able to see that what we have. So we are discussing about this Simulink. So in this Simulink, there are various libraries are available. Depending on your licenses in your institution, you are able to see that various library, because if I have a complete set of MATLAB tools, so I am able to see all of the blocks which are available. But if you have only Simulink license, so you are able to see up to this place. Okay. Additionally, you need to use any of the tool, so you need to buy that as a license. Now, so in this Simulink, we are able to see that different other libraries are available, like continuous library, different dashboards are there. Further other libraries are available, so we can use these blocks depending on our need, that what kind of block is required. Same way, if I go in powertrain block set, in this powertrain block set that we have, again different sub libraries are available. With these sub libraries, we are able to see that what kind of others, like couplings, so disc clutch, gearbox, planetary gears, so which we are discussing on the presentation slides. So these all blocks are available. So what we need to do, we need to just drag and drop these into our model window, or just by right clicking in this place and say that add model to, sorry, add this block to model untitled. Okay. If we want to take help on this particular block, so it will launch a help directly from this place where we are able to see that what is this block. Okay, so a complete description is there, its equations are there, as well as that what are the different say options are available, so we can use those things, what different ports are there. So a complete description about that block is available in this documentation, and wherever it has been used, a example has been given so that we can see in working or in running condition. Okay. Same way, if I go in transmission, so we are able to see that what are different transmission blocks are available. So like these controllers are available. If we go in vehicle dynamics, so we are able to see that what different vehicle dynamics are available in this place. Vehicle scenario builders are there. So like drive cycle sources are there, like longitudinal drivers block is there. For energy and storage, like alternator or a DC to DC converter is required. For propulsion, that what kind of different engine components are there. So like a core engine. So we are able to see that certain different blocks are available, which we can use directly into our model. So as I said that I can just drag and drop. I right click on this. Another option is that like I need to use this map core engine in my canvas. So these are new features of Simulink environment where we just click in somewhere in my Simulink canvas, and I just start typing that what is my requirement, that mapped CI. So what it will do, it will list out all the products, or sorry, all the blocks which are with that name. And if I click on that, it will go and fetch out for me that particular block in this place. Okay, so now this block is available for me. I can just double click on this and it will open a property editor for me, where I can go and choose various properties and change things like what could be the input command. It will be fuel mass or torque, what will be the configuration, power. So various options are available in this. So we just need to go and set up those things so that it can be used according to my model need. Okay, so by this way we can just pull out some of the blocks and build up a model on top of say Simulink. Okay, so what I have, for time's sake, I have already designed a model within this. So I just want to open out that model. Like this is a model which we have seen in that video. Okay, so that same model we have opened up. We have that various blocks are available. Like if I go in this drive cycle sources, so we are able to see that what kind of sources we are using, like drive cycle source. So various sources are there. So we can choose from some files or some pre-built kind of things. If we want to define some kind of fault tracking, so we can use that fault tracking options also. So there are various options are available. If we want to install some additional drive cycles, that option is also available in this place. Okay, same way we can use these controllers like this. If I go in this controller, so this controller has these kind of blocks are available. Further on, it will show that what kind of different models are there. Okay, so like engine control model with ECM and with HCM, so hybrid control mode and engine control module kind of things. So we can design in such manner so that we can use various options. Same way when I go in passenger car, so in this passenger car we have various options are available, like electrical plant is there, drivetrain system is there, and engine system is there. Okay, so what we have a bigger system, so we defined in different subsystems. So for that, again, if I go in this library browser, and here if I go in this port and subsystems, so we have particular subsystem blocks are available. Like here you're able to see that we have a particular block which named as subsystem or a model reference block. So these blocks we can use to design a specific portion of a say complete model. Okay, now if I go further in engine, so we are able to see that there are different variants of engine is available, like SI engine, SI mapped engine, CI engine, CI mapped engine. But you are able to see that this particular is highlighted right away. That means we are using these options. So we are free to choose out those kind of say models which are available in this place. Same way if I go in electrical plant, So in this electrical plant also, there are two options are there: electrical plant with powertrain and with SimScape. So I will discuss this later on. First, we will see that what kind of different blocks are available. Like here, you are able to see that such kind of block. So this is a reference model. That means this is not designed here. It is a separate model. So when I launch, it will open that same model which has been linked along with this one. So you see that this is a model where we have designed a battery, we have used a battery pack, we have used a controller, converter, DC to DC converter, and we are using. So you see that this is a separate model. When we talk about, when we talk about that thing, so it is stored in a different location. So we can use that also. We can use as a subsystem. So various options are available. Okay. So now when we go in visualization, so what we are doing, we are just passing on all those outputs into these scopes, where we can visualize those things. So we can use normal scope, or we can use some signal analyzer kind of scope. Like this kind of scope is there, spectrum, where we are able to see those things and trace out various results. Okay, so for that, when we are done with our designing, what we have to do, we have to see that what kind of options are required for setting simulation. So you see that here are different options are available: normal, accelerator, rapid accelerator kind of options are there. So when I say that normal mode, that means I'm running my simulation with these blocks only, whatever the blocks I have used. When I choose any of the option below that accelerator or rapid accelerator, that means I'm converting, first breaking my blocks into C codes, and then I'm running as a C code, because if we know that when we are running a C code, it is faster than anything. Okay, so these options are directly available. So we can just need to go and select out from the drop down menu that what kind of options are there. Now, what is the need of that? Because of I'm using so many components in this place, if I run with a normal mode simulation, it will take longer time to simulate. Like still I'm running for 1372 kind of seconds, but it take longer time to run that simulation. To overcome with that, what we did, we just selected our accelerator mode. So what it will do, it will find out whatever the reference applications in whole model, because I have shown you that I have so many number of subsystems are available. With that subsystem, how I am going to run out those things. So what we did, we just say that accelerator mode, and we say that run option right away. As soon as we say run option in this place, what it will do, it will start identifying that wherever the reference targets are there, wherever the reference models are there, and combine all those things. So you see right now, you are able to see that searching for all reference models. So whatever the locations are there, it will search out all the models for me, and then it will try to simulate those all models alongside in one application, which is this reference application. Okay, so you see that it is identifying those components, updating into model, and when it's done, it will start simulating my results. So you see that it says as initializing. Now it is compiling as a C code. It has done a compilation. Okay, and now it is going to start running those simulations. Now with this simulation, we are able to see that what kind of various outputs are there. Like I have shown you in that video also, that similar output has been shown in this place. So here in this scope, we are tracing we are comparing the trace velocity and target as actual kind of velocity, engine speed, motor speed, battery SOC, battery current. So those all things directly showing in this place. So we're getting all those outputs in one place. If further we need some kind of analysis on these kind of curves, like here we are only able to visualize those things, or we can just go and select out a particular signal and see that what values are there. Like here we are able to see the different measurements in this place, that at this point what will be the delta t would be there. So for any of the curves in this place, so we can go and select out any of the options in these places. Okay, so I'm just stopping because of it will take long time to simulate this also. But what we have further more options to, because of right now it is just visualizing, but what I need some comparison within these, or we need to inspect thoroughly that those signals which has been generated. So we have options available, like if we go in this place, you are able to see these kind of options, a wireless kind of options, which means it is going to log this signal. So like if I right click on any of these signal, so like right now I'm just right clicking on this place and right clicking on this place. So what we have option that log selected signals, or we can just select out a specific signal, and here an option is there, log signals. So when we do this, it will log that signal into MATLAB memory, and with these two options or any of these options, like here that bird eye scope is not required, but so data inspector or logic analyzer will allow to inspect that data thoroughly. So if I launch the data inspector, it will open a new window for me. In that window, we are able to see, like this run I have done right away. So what I do, I just select out maybe a battery current. Okay. And I have run a simulation in morning also. So same way I select out a battery current also in this place. So what we have, if we have done some kind of changes, so we can compare out in this place that what are the changes if we do some parameter change. So we can thoroughly compare out those things in these places. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Or like, as I said, that when we are running some kind of simulation, it take longer time. But when we have such kind of result, we have an option so that we can just simply click on play. So we are able to see that at what point, what kind of simulations are there. Now you see, I'm running in this place only. My model is still at stopped condition. Okay, so we can see that what different various points are there, at what point what kind of outputs are coming. So we are able to see that as soon as it changes, it start showing that changes, at what time what kind of changes are there. So this will allow to compare different results so that we can identify that what kind of parameter is suitable for my model. Let's say I'm just saying that I have two different parameters. I'm getting confused that which parameter is used in my model. So I can run with both of the parameters. I can compare that their results and identify that what parameter is required from those, or maybe that value in between that, or some extrapolation or interpolation is required for that. So we can use out those things. Okay. Same way, this logic analyzer is there, so which will allow to see that different logics on a particular second, that what values are available for specifics. So we are comparing that all of those points. So wherever different logics are there, so it will show in digitized manner to us. Okay, so I'm just moving on presentation. So what we have seen that Powertrain library. So what are the different benefits of Powertrain Blockset? So it will accelerate our system development process, because of we have seen that we have ready blocks available for specific say application. We can use those blocks to build up a complete model. Okay, like from these kind of libraries where we see that we have different blocks are available which are documented. We can use from components, subsystem models. So those all things are there. As well as that, it has pre-built reference applications, so we can use those pre-built reference application to change and use as per my say data sheets or parameters or my requirement. As well as that, it will allow us to run for HIL development also. So if some controller, like we are seeing this thing, if I want to run this controller for HIL, so we can use it for HIL purposes also. Okay, so we have seen that different engine models are there. So with that engine models, what we could do, we can use powertrain block sets to map with our own data sets. Like I have shown that parameter block box where we can set up our own parameters, or we can create some kind of dynamic engine models by using powertrain block library components. Okay, or we have an option so that we can connect any of the block from some CAE kind of files, okay, or CAE kind of models, like this GT power kind of model is there, so which we can connect out directly with this system. Okay, so those options are also available. So we have a full-fledged options of engine design is available, which we can use on top of powertrain block set. Okay, now we have seen one thing that which is power train block set. Another one is that Simscape. Now what it as the features have. So Simscape will allow a platform for physical modeling. Okay, so powertrain just specifically for automotive, but this Simscape can be used for various reasons. But with this also, we can design similar kind of results, or sorry, models, so that we can get results and compare out those things. Like here you are able to see that when we talk about Simscape, we have various different libraries are available, as well as that custom equation options are also available. So what it has on top of Simscape, on top of this, we have various different other libraries are available. So Simscape Driveline, which will allow us to take blocks as gears, lead screws, clutches, tires, engines. So various blocks are available in this library. Same way for Simscape Electrical. So earlier this tool known as Power System and Electronics, two separate tools. From last couple or three releases that it has been merged as a single product named as Simscape Electrical, where we have all three-phase circuitries as well as that semiconductors, actuators, sensors, those all things are available, which we can use to design a complete electrical or electronics kind of system. Simscape Fluids is there, so where we have libraries are available like pumps, different pipelines, valves, tanks, so we can use to design such thing. As well as that, Simscape Multibody is there. So Simscape Multibody is a tool which will allow to design a complete mechanical model within Simulink, as well as that it allow an option so that we can import any of the CAD models directly within Simulink environment, and it will act as a Simscape multibody kind of models, or Simulink model, I can say better. To design a vehicle or HEVs, we need, along with Simscape, these three things: Simscape Driveline, Electrical, and Fluids, so that we can design with the help of these libraries a Simscape equivalent model of that. Okay. Now, physical modeling within Simulink. As I said that physical modeling. So what is this physical modeling basically? What is the difference between Simulink model and a physical model? So I'm just taking an example of this RLC circuit. Okay, as I said earlier also that being an engineer, we prefer such kind of say components will be available, and with those components we are able to design certain things. But when we are designing in Simulink with input and output, so we design in this fashion that we just write down transfer function, and with that transfer function will act as a RLC circuitry. Okay, but here we are able to see that it is showing some this particular input and this particular output. That means it's state as a single direction input or single direction output kind of thing. So wherever the arrow direction is there, it will only provide signals or flow signals in those directions. Okay, so it is a single direction flow modeling. But we know that in say physical modeling, we may require a bidirectional flow also. So for that, we use Simscape to design a complete physical network. Now you're able to see here that signal lines also. In these signal lines, it is not showing such kind of arrow. That means it state that it's a bidirectional kind of flow may consist. As well as that, it is easy to, when we have this kind of uh, a problem statement available, we just use such kind of things, or such kind of blocks can be designed. But what if it get complex? We have more stages of that RLCs. So what we have, we need to design such kind of, only that particular transfer function will not help out to us. But in this case, we just need to add a couple of more blocks. So it is up to us that what we need. I prefer that whenever I need to design some kind of physical systems, I prefer Simscape. Okay. As well as that, as I said, that it has various different libraries are available. So we use such kind of libraries to design certain models. As well as that, we know that MATLAB and Simulink is a tool which will perform mathematical modeling simulations. Okay, which means it is going to use a certain set of ordinary differential equation solvers, which will allow to simulate my complete problem. But certain problems will require a specialized set of solvers. Okay, like Euler method is there. So when we want to use certain options, it is provided within Simscape so that we can use those methods to simulate certain problems. Okay. Now I'm just again switching back on this same library, this Simulink library. Over there, I'm just going to this Simscape library. Now, when I select out a Simscape library, what it has certain different options of a sub library are available. So driveline, electrical, fluids, multi-body, and foundation and utilities. So Simscape is a separate block, and these four are separate blocks. So what Simscape consists in itself: foundation library and a utilities library. So when we go ahead with this in foundation library, we can found out further sub libraries. So if we have only Simscape, still we can work on electrical things, gas problems, hydraulic problems, moisture, physical signals, thermal liquid. So those all things are there, which we can design along with this. Same way when we talk about utilities, so it has utilities because of in the end, we are taking inputs from Simulink environment and providing output also in the Simulink environment, because of most of the output blocks or input blocks are available in Simulink. So for that, what we have these kind of converters are available, or these kind of blocks are available, like interconnectivity. Okay, interconnectivity with the, let's say suppose that I'm working on a DC motor. In a DC motor, electrical and mechanical both kind of components are there, and if I want to design such certain things, we can use those ports to connect out two different domains. Okay, so now what I'm doing, I'm just taking any of the electrical element block of a diode. Okay, so I say that, oh no, not in this, I just need to open a new model. So in this new model, I just use this block, a diode block. Now with this diode block, when I open its property, what it shows that I have various parameter options are there, various variable options are there, which we can choose out from these places. But what if I need to design my own kind of diode, or I need to modify this diode depending on my data sheets? So what I could do, I can just click on this source code. So this Simscape blocks will provide these kind of source code, which will allow me to change their equations. Now what we have to do, we can designing a physical component in this. So as I discussed earlier, that if we have certain equations available for an electrochemical kind of say component, so we can design such things also, a specialized resistor. So we can design those things also. So directly we need to write down, like here, that what parameters are there, what are the different equation sets are there, and with this we can design a complete component is there. Okay, so every component which are available in Simscape library has certain options are available. Like if I go in a op-amp, you see that I have a source code option. If I go in any of these like hydraulic components, you see I have a source code options. So this option is only available for these Simscape blocks, which are available up to this place. So we are free to design our own components or change these components. But as I said that these libraries are certain limited components are available. With these components, we can design some basic level stuffs. Okay. With those basic level stuffs, definitely we can design because of all the bigger components are going to use these basic components. But when I need some specific things, like if I am going to design a vehicle system, I'm not going to use all of those things to design a certain thing. What I need a specific blocks. That's why that Simscape driveline, Simscape electrical, Simscape fluids or multi-body come into picture. Like in this place, if I go like engines, so you see that I have a generic engine, I have a position engine and a piston kind of blocks are available. I have different clutches libraries are available where different clutches options are available. Now you see that as soon as I select out a specific library, like I have selected right now a driveline thing, it shows a green color blocks. Now if I go and choose out an electrical library, so it has a blue color component is there. So if color coding is there specifically that when we are using a specific thing, like you are able to see in this place when I selected out these clutches, you are able to see that here a different kind of connectivity is required. That means I need to connect out some of the Simlink block in this place. So your blocks are readily available, which we can use out to design a specific model. Same way, if I go back again and on that Simlink start page, here also that in Simscape also that similar kind of options are available, as well as that when I go in reference example, that reference example is also available for specific Simscape things. Okay. Now I'm just quickly opening a model of a hybrid power split model on Simscape. So just to show, and then I will show one more example to you. And so this is a model of a vehicle simulation on top of Simulink. Okay, so over there you see that this is a battery block is there where that a battery modeling is there done by using Simscape electricals. Different calculations has been seen in this place, that what are different calculations are there. Same way when I talk about that a DC converter is there. So in a DC converter, this has been designed by using Simscape electrical components. Okay. Here a power split is there, which has been used from driveline. Okay, engine block has been used. A vehicle body is there, which has been defined a tire with tires, different blocks of body. And finally, what we are getting that speeds in these places. Okay, so when I run this simulation, what I get some results within this place. Okay, so what is doing its simulation thing that thing. Now you are able to see that this FX option is there. So as I earlier stated, because of I'm using two set of blocks, Simulink blocks, as well as that Simscape blocks. So this Simscape block will allow us to use various options. Like I need to define specific tolerances. I need to define a specific solvers so that it can be easily used. That what will the delay, what will the filtering time constant. So those all options we can directly assign from this one. So a set of configuration is available which will allow to run my simulation of a physical modeling things. Okay, now if I open that blocks, so I get similar kind of results with this. Okay, so you see that what command we have given and what will be the vehicle body is simulating. So it is almost similar. Now these Simulink models, whether we talk about powertrain, whether we talk about this Simscape or any of the Simulink model, this will allow to link with MATLAB, so that if I want to work on some kind of other MATLAB module to use those things, we can use. Like here, what we are doing here, we are plotting in MATLAB some of the results. But whatever the results we are getting in this place, so we are plotting in this place right away. So what we are doing, we are just linking our some of the code, some of the MATLAB code with this model, so that we are able to create some kind of plot. So integration of MATLAB and Simulink is always possible within this. Okay. Sorry. As well as that, Simscape will provide some option to explore various results. Like I have Simscape Explorer option is available. With that Simscape Explorer option, we are able to see results of various blocks at each and every step. Okay, so why I'm insisting on the verifying results on and visualizing those things, because of if we are getting a wrong result at a particular step, our complete model will ruin. So we need to check out step results in each and every step, so that we can get a better say model which can be simulated easily. Like here, if I go and see that what are the battery current sensor, so if I select out this one, I'm able to see that what is the current within this. Or if I need to see that what will be the engine values are there, so it shows those things. So in this Simscape Explorer, I can see that all of the blocks, all of the outputs in this place, because it is difficult to put up multiple scopes in these places and identify those things. So whenever you want to run and see that results of various blocks, you are free to use that SSC Explorer also. So SSC Explorer is available within this app section. So you just need to go in this place and choose out that Simscape Explorer. Okay. Now I'm coming back on this example. So I have shown you here when we have run that thing, and when we talk about this electrical plant. So here you are able to see that some options are given. That means we are using certain blocks from this, and certain blocks are not used. Okay, so when I go in this place, you see that electrical plant has there, and here that one more block is there which is grayed out, which is says that electrical plant Simscape. Okay, so what I need to see that what is inside of this. So when I go in further in this place, I have a motor block. In this motor block, what we have, a motor map motor is there, and a dynamic motor is there. So again, these all blocks has been used from powertrain system. Okay, but when we go and see this system, so this system is a Simscape system which has been, sorry, it is taking some time. Okay, so you see that in this system, what we have certain designs are available. I have shown you in that Simscape also that when we are using some Simscape blocks, we have some colored kind of say blocks are available, as well as their connections are right there. Okay, so this is from Simscape electrical, this is from Simscape driveline kind of blocks. If I go further in subsystem, we are able to see that various blocks are there. So we have designed similar blocks for say model for with Simscape as well as powertrain. So what I'm doing, I'm just clicking on this place and say select out a Simscape block and say apply. Okay, now when I go in this place again in same electrical plant, now I see that electrical plant from powertrain has been grayed out. Now this has been selected right away. So we have two options available. When we want to specifically work on a vehicle modeling, maybe we can use only powertrain block set. Or when we want to work on multi-domain modeling, then we can use Simscape also. Okay. Now, if I run that as a simulation, I get similar results. So what I did, I just selected out this right away Simscape, and I'm running that simulation so that we can see that what kind of results is coming. So again, it will do similar thing for me, that in that same model, what it is doing, it is updating that block parameters. Okay, they are going to use Simscape as a blocks, not powertrain blocks they are going to use. So whatever the reference model of Simscape are there, you need to collect out all those reference models and simulate accordingly. So why I'm trying to show those things, that or maybe it is a confusion that when to use powertrain, when to use say Simscape modeling. So you are free to use both the things first, but when you specifically want to work on say automotive design, you use powertrain. When you want to work on multi-domain modelings, where various domains you want to include, better you can use Simscape as a model. So what is doing right now, that it is updating my models into, okay, so what I'm doing, I'm using parallel simulation. So you see that I have open from this place my parallel pool. So what is happening, it is trying to load my, because of I have a bigger model. So if I run with my system's CPU, it will take longer time. So what I did, I opened more instances in the background of my system, MATLAB instances, and I'm trying to load my models on those instances so that I can get faster simulation results. Okay, so it is trying to load those models into those workers, and whenever it's done, it will run that simulation, and we are able to see that same results in this place. Okay, so while it is loading, let me just complete this presentation. Okay, so different Simscape benefits, as I said, that multi-domain modeling options are available. Like you are able to see that here, that different domains can be included: electrical, mechanical, drive lines, fluids, if thermal things are required, if gas things are required. So all things we can include in these places. So we can efficiently model building is possible because of we have certain color codings are available for different say domains. Extensive documentation and example help is available. What happened? Okay, so I think so I have done some changes in this. That's why it is showing me that I have to do that changes again back, and then I need to run that simulation. But no problem, I have recorded that simulation for you, and we will see that thing right away. Okay, so these are some Simscape benefits. But as I said, that these two products are, or product line are allowing us to work in collaboration also. So these are certain things regarding that power strain blocks, and as well as that Simscape blocks. So Simscape will provide us a flexible architecture, and Powertrain will provide a pre-built kind of applications. So if we use along with that, like here, that when we talk about Powertrain block set, we have certain blocks are available. When we talk about Simscape assembly, like we have to design a specific kind of battery for a vehicle. So we use Simscape to design that battery and use along with Powertrain block sets. So what Powertrain block set focuses is there? It is signal based modeling. It has a detailed engine modeling which is available by default, and pre-built reference application and system level model architecture is available. When we talk about Simscape, it has a connection based modeling. Okay, first principle modeling is possible with this because of we have a custom equations options are available. So by using those custom equations, we can define by using first principle modeling. Multi-domain modelings are there. We have seen that different other options are also available, like hydraulics, power electronics, or fluids. So we can use to define a complete multi-domain model, and definitely building blocks for user defined contents are available. So it will complement each other. So if we use along with these two tools along with to design a particular product or a particular model, it is good to use. Okay, so this is the same thing which I want to show in that simulation, that results match closely. So whenever so if you are able to see here that it shows that powertrain, block set, and Simscape, so it is quite overlapping most of the places. Okay, so we have simulated most of the things, but here we are able to see that in battery SOC it is quite different, that powertrain, block set has a different kind of result and Simscape has a different kind of results, because of that model fidelity of a battery in Simscape and powertrain block sets is totally different. So that's why there are some discrepancies are there. Okay, so in battery only, because of in Simscape we are using definitely in backend those physical equations, with those physical equations are there. Here we are using that some standard set of values which has been defined in that block, or we can say some kind of data driven things has been defined in that places. With that it is taking some values for us. Okay, now so I'm just going to share out some best practices for getting started of yourself. Like you can start with template or example of powertrain block set or Simscape driveline. You can use system level simulation to start with powertrain block set for a reference application. For a model architecture, you can use reference models. So definitely that different model references are available. So what kind of model reference you need to use, you can select out easily. You can use that input output layers to separate from application layers, that what are different inputs and what are different outputs and what are my application things are there. Like in our model, what we have these are the output subsystem and this is my input things are there, and these are my complete simulation model blocks are there. Okay, so we can utilize Simulink projects for model organizations. So we are using certain Simulink projects, like if we are able to see in this place, so which will allow easily to link out all of the blocks. So if you see that here are certain different models are there which will be designed in separate different models. So what we could do, we can simply link out those things by using Simulink project. So Simulink project is always available in Simulink so that you can define a complete model within Simulink itself. And we can parameterize and customize a subsystem for our need. So like we can use some parameter estimation by using Simulink design optimization, which I'm not covering right away today. But we can use parameter estimation by using Simulink design optimization, so that we can get a specific parameter value for a specific block. For a new model, like we can use appropriate modeling fidelity for a specific purpose, like here that a computation time with model complexity has been given. So how much computational time is required for a particular detailing. So such kind of things we can design. We can start small and build slowly, use test harness model. So like a specific system first we can design, and then we can start clubbing all those systems. We can use Simulink test, which is another product, to test out whether my system is working perfectly or not with industry standard values. And if you are using Simscape, so we can already have existing Simscape models available, which can do multiple physical domain modeling for us when it's needed. We can quickly build HEVs with provided plan topologies, and we can construct complex topologies with this also. Okay, so to start using, like as I initially said, that I keep in mind that you already use Simulink environment or already use MATLAB environment. So that's why this specific session on HEV is there. But if you want to work on MATLAB and Simulink, or you want to know that how to work on MATLAB and Simulink, if you are new by, you have some option. If you are already a user, you definitely have MATLAB softwares available along with you in your institution, so you can start using that. Or to learn out those things, what we have some options are available as on-ramp courses, which is free for everyone. So you just need to go in this location, matlabacademy.mathworks.com, where a hands-on kind of sessions are available for a 3-hour time duration for each course, like MATLAB, Simlink. So definitely for Simlink, you require a MATLAB software will be installed on your system. If you don't have, you can get a trial licenses from that place. And these 3 will work in browser. These 2 will work in your MATLAB environment. So it has a free access of a 3-hour course, so which will allow you to do a hands-on kind of thing with video sessions, and in the end you can get a completion certificate of that. So I encourage that you can go and use these on-ramp courses so that you are able to acquaintance with MATLAB and Simulink, say programming and modeling things, and then start using further high-end tools with this. So this is it from my side. Now, if I can take questions from you, if you have any questions along with you.
Thank you, Zafar sir. The way you have explained really exemplary, and we are also inspired to have a strong knowledge in MATLAB tool as you have in this powerful tool, sir. Really wonderful presentation. Now the floor is open for question answer session. Dear students, kindly make use of the chat box.
So, ma'am, my colleagues are also available. So, if they want to answer out those questions for students, they can also pitch in that place.
Sure, sir. We can. And to start with, I have 2 questions, sir. So
Yeah,
we
please.
know MATLAB is actually used in academic research institutions as well as in all industrial enterprises. But
Right.
we are now still in the beginners in it. To be very honest, we have to say like that. And generally, we have worked with the high-level programming language. Basically, it is written in C. I want to know now what other programming language MATLAB is used in recent versions, sir. Is like Java, is any other programming language included in it?
No, so MATLAB, it has its own programming language, which is a MATLAB. Okay.
Matrix
MATLAB,
laboratory, yes.
yeah, MATLAB. So but MATLAB never replace any programming language or modeling environment. What it will do, it will try to integrate in itself. Like you have written some nice codes in Java or C or C++ or Python. So what MATLAB will do, it allow you to integrate along with MATLAB. So if you want to call any of the programming language or your code within MATLAB, only MATLAB base as a product is required. So if you go in MATLAB documentation and find out external interfaces, so over there in documentation, external interfaces are there. So which will help out you to call other languages. Even you can call Fortran program also within MATLAB.
Okay.
Okay.
Initially, it was started with the Fortran, huh? Right, sir?
No, so initially,
even now.
Okay, so I just let you know quickly a history of MATLAB. So MATLAB initially not made for such kind of purposes. It initially started with some 16 mathematical papers has been written by various say professors. So chief scientist of MathWorks, which is Mr. Cleve Muller, he is one of that scientist. So he has rewritten that same papers for algebraic simulations, linear algebra simulations on Fortran. So he have rewritten on Fortran. Initially, so they have written that 2 libraries, LabPack and initially it has been written as LinPack and EastPack, and then LabPack and BLAS kind of libraries has been written. Then Mr. Jack Little, who is a founder of MathWorks as a company, he actually taken that codes from Cleve Muller, and he started rewriting those things in C and .NET kind of interfaces, so that they can get say software kind of interface. Okay, then later on Java also included for an interface, because of when initially MATLAB has been launched, MATLAB is just a say command line kind of interface. Things are there, it comes in a floppy and work like that. Then as soon as that UI things are there, that they encourage it for a UI environment, then Java has been included. And right now that Java, C++, .NET, and Fortran, these all four programming languages are used to develop such kind of environment.
Okay, thank you, sir. And MuPad symbolic engine, it is also having its own workspace like MATLAB. What is the difference between MuPad symbolic engine and the MATLAB workspace, sir? What is
Okay.
the connection between?
Okay, so Symbolic Math Toolbox is a product from MathWorks, but actually MATLAB is a numerical computation tool. We have seen that, like I'm just taking an example of a quadratic equation. If we need to write down that equation, f is equals to ax square plus bx plus c. So in MATLAB, we need to define all of those values, value of a, x, b, and c, everything we have to define. Then we are able to find out value of f, right, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
But in actual mathematical problems, it is not possible that every time we have values of x, a, or b, or c will be available. Maybe we have that equation, and with that equation we are going to find out roots, and with those roots we are going to substitute some value of a, b, c. That means x is always unknown. We find out those roots and we put the a, b, c values, and we can get results. Okay, so in that, symbolic computation will come into picture. So symbolic math is a product which will allow to work in traditional mathematics process, like we do in with a pen and paper. So symbolic math has options or capabilities which can solve your calculus kind of problems, linear algebra kind of problems, your determinants, Jacobian, variable precision analysis. So those all things could be possible. Even transforms also could be possible with symbolic math toolbox. So what it has, as I said, that it has a symbolic computation. So it has an engine which is named as MuPad.
Okay.
Okay. So when we write down something, like normally in MATLAB, what we do, we write x is equal to some value, a is equal to some value. But over there, what we do, we assign those a, x, b, and c as symbols. Okay, so that it can treat as a symbols and it doesn't ask for values. When we done with our complete say problem solving, we start substituting values of those variables which are left to get
Okay, sir.
numerical results.
Fine, sir. I can
Okay.
understand. Okay, thank you, sir. And one student has raised a question, Chandran Saran, to simulate chain drive and belt drive. Is there any predefined library in Simscape
Which drive?
to simulate chain drive and belt drive?
No, not specific library is there for. I haven't seen right away. If I can check out also on this, and I will email you, ma'am. Is it
Okay,
okay?
sir. Sure, sir.
Because
Sure, sir.
I haven't seen that thing.
Okay. Students, if you want to interact with our guest of today, please you can unmute yourself and you can also raise your questions. If not, if you could not use the chat box, please you can unmute yourself.
Hello,
Yeah, please.
this is Professor Elvin.
Yeah, please go ahead.
This is a wonderful presentation, and previously I was wondering how we can, simulate mechanical things with electrical, but I could understand now perfectly. Now I have few questions.
Yeah.
See, you normally simulate with certain parameters and give, you see what is the output, right?
Okay.
But most of the times we know only the output side, that is design values. Like we have a car's weight, we have a torque, we have velocity profile, but we don't know other side. Okay, battery size, maybe basic things you can start with, but we don't know exactly what will be the parameters, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
how to go about, how to iterate? Should we have to iterate and find out whether it is matching our design values, or how it is done?
Okay. So first of all, really thanks, sir, for your appreciation. And for that, I have told in presentation that three type of modeling: first principle method, data-driven method, and behavior. So for this kind of problem, that data-driven method will come into picture. Okay, where you have output data points are available along with input. You don't have any parameters. When I say that input and output parameters are there, and according to that ranges, we can use lookup tables to pull out those values
Okay.
depending on our input points.
For each stage.
Yes. So what it will do, that lookup table blocks will allow us to use that interpolation and extrapolation options also. So
Okay.
if some of the values are not lying in that output, so it will automatically interpolate and extrapolate that thing and provide those results to us.
Okay.
So for this, data-driven technique is going to use. Further on, to design plant from that, we have certain options are available. So with that, we can design a plant by using system identification tool, where we have only inputs and outputs are available. With those input and output, we can design a specific plant by using system identification tool.
System verification. Okay.
Yeah, system identification tool.
So finally, we have to optimize.
Yes, after that we can it has an option in that tool itself that we intake that input and output. With that input and output, we can design a plant and we get a plant specification. Now we can use those plant specification, and then we can use that parameter estimation kind of thing, so that we can get a optimized parameter for specific results.
Okay. And one more question.
Yeah,
In
please, go ahead.
EVs, the thermal profiling is very important, right?
Mhm.
So can you do this with the MATLAB or Simulink?
That means you want to say that some kind of CAE stuffs within MATLAB and Simulink?
Thermal
Thermal profiling in the sense, sir?
in the car, inside the car, because all these batteries, all these moving parts will be available inside the car. So what is the thermal profiling? What is the hotspot, the thermal hotspots? All this normally
Yeah.
required now.
Yes, I understand that that thing, that same such CAE thing, that where temperature is more and
Okay.
how we need to
Okay.
work on that thing, right, sir?
Right. Yes.
Okay, so we have certain tool available named as partial differential equation tool. Okay, which will perform some amount of this CAE things. I cannot say that it is a full-fledged kind of that thing which can perform a CAE analysis for you, but some amount of thing we can perform in that, where we can identify that thermal points over there, so that we can go and change back in our models accordingly. We can again
Yeah.
simulate and get results with that.
Correct.
So tool is there, partial differential equation toolbox, but it is not a full-fledged thing, because of CAE is itself a broad subject.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Ravinder Reddy, sir, and Rajkumar, sir, has given the sufficient details for the question asked by Chandran Saran. It is available, and they have given the link itself, sir. Thanks. Thank you very much for the immediate response. And almost after having this heavy informations, I think our students, I surely drop you the mail if my students further ask any questions, and I will request you for the answers.
Sure,
I
sir.
will surely
Sure,
ask.
ma'am. No problem.
And our Professor Makeshar is asking about any reference books availability for designing the parameters of motor rating and battery rating.
For books, okay, so I will share out you one link with you, ma'am. So
Yes.
you can take reference from that place.
Okay, sir. Sure. Any
Yeah,
other queries?
Ravinder is saying something, ma'am. Maybe he has some answer. Ravinder, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thanks, sir. Madam, I can like whenever you're designing about the battery and this kind of in MATLAB, better I can recommend it to go for the MATLAB documentation. In MATLAB documentation, we have the reference links is there. So I will share you the link to your email ID, madam.
Fine, sir. Sure. I
After
will
this
share to
session,
all
after
our
this-
participants.
Yeah, thank you, madam. After this session, I'll forward to you, madam, regarding that things.
Thank you, sir.
Like,
Thank
this
you.
belt drive and also is directly is available, and the parameter you have to change according to your requirement, madam.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Once I receive the mail, I will surely forward that to all the participants. And,
Sure.
Yeah.
okay. Sir, we are now at the end of the session. Is there any other questions before we wrap up the session, students? Or if you want me to, after having a detailed analysis, we will send the recordings to your mail. Again, you can recall all the concepts given by our Jafar sir. The wonderful session again you can have. And if you have further more queries, please do not hesitate to drop the mail to me. I will mail to Jafar sir and their team, Jafar sir and their team will surely respond us immediately. I will share the answers back to you. Thank you. I would like to profusely thank our guests and all his friends who blessed us with their presence and took their valuable time for us in spite of their busy schedule. Now over to Ms. Aparna Raji for proposing the vote of thanks.
I'm honored and lucky to have the opportunity to give a vote of thanks on this special day. On behalf of the management, principal, the dean, HOD of EEE, faculties and students, thank you, sir, for your wonderful presentation. We gained lot of information today. In spite of your busy schedule, thanks for sharing your knowledge and expertise in your field, sir. I use this opportunity to thank our management, Dean Sir, Head of the Department of EEE, and all our faculty members for organizing such an informative and useful webinar. I also like to thank all my friends for their kind cooperation. Finally, I again want to thank all for making this session a great success. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. On behalf of the management, principal, and all the faculty and students of EEE and mechanical departments, thank you so much. It was so wonderful a session. Maybe people will take time to understand and then get back to you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, everyone, for joining.
you.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving a chance to present out. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you, sir. We can stop the recording now.
Thank you.